everyone. Let us continue understanding Module 2, Modules and Ports. In this video lecture, let us understand port declaration and port connection rules. First, let us understand about ports. Ports basically provide an interface by which a module can communicate with its external environment. That is, ports basically provide connections through which a module can interface with the external environment or communicate with the external environment. For example, the input and output pins of an IC chip are the ports. They are the input and output ports because it is through these pins that the IC interacts or communicates with the external environment. So the input output pins of an IC are its ports. The external environment can interact with the module only through the ports. So if the module has to send some data to the external environment or it has to take some data from the external environment, then those kind of interactions or communications happens only through the ports, which can be either the input ports or the output ports. The internals of the module are not visible to the environment. This means the ports are just helping to communicate with the external world, that is either send the data from the module to the external environment or receive the data from the external environment into the module. The internals of the module means it is the functionality of the module. So to the external environment, the actual functionality of the module, that is the internal of the module, are not visible. Because they are not visible to the external environment, we can make any changes to the internals of the module anytime without affecting the environment. These ports are also referred to as terminals. So we call the port list also as the terminal list, the input-output terminal list. Let us see the list of ports available in Verilog. A module definition always has an optional list of ports. We just saw in a stimulus block we do not have ports because the stimulus block does not interact with its external environment, so it contained no input-output ports. So the list of ports is optional in a module. So if there is no interaction with the external environment, there will be no ports in the list. Let us consider a 4-bit full adder which is instantiated inside a top-level module called top. So this is a 4-bit full adder. We know that full adder has 3 inputs and 2 outputs. The 3 inputs are A, B, C, and the 2 outputs are sum and carry. So since it is a 4-bit full adder, it means this A is 4-bit wide, the B input is also 4-bit wide, and the sum is also 4-bit wide. The carry input is just 1 bit wide. So A, B and sum are 4-bit wide signals. So this is instantiated inside a module known as top. So this outer block is the top module. The top module, if we observe in the diagram, has no interface or connections with the external world. This block is the full adder 4, which is a 4-bit full adder. This is another module which has some set of input and output lines, that is it has ports because it is interacting with its external environment. The first module is top, the second module is full adder. If we observe this top module, which is the outer box, there is no connection with the external environment. So a module declaration for such a kind of module without any ports is simple. So the module top is the top level module. Module full adder 4 is instantiated inside the top module. So if we are writing the module declaration for a full adder, it would look like module full underscore add 4, which is the name of the module, followed by the list of input and output variables. So the order in which we write these variables is not having any effect. You can list out the input variables first and then the output, or you can mix the input and output variables, but you need to be careful when they are instantiated so that their order matches along with the order of variables that are passed. So here you can observe we have listed out the names sum, cout, A, B and Cin. Full adder has a list of ports which are listed here, whereas Module top has no list of ports because there is no input output connections. So we just declare it as module and the module name without any port list. Now let us see how we declare ports in Verilog. All the ports in the list of ports, they must and should be declared in the module. So if we have listed out any ports in the port list, that port has to be declared whether it is the input port or an output port or any other type. So in Verilog, we have three types of ports, namely the input port, output port and the bidirectional port. So input port is declared using the keyword input, output ports are declared using the keyword output, and bidirectional ports behave as both input and output and they are declared as in-out port. So these are the three keywords to be remembered while we do port declaration. So the general format is we just write the keyword input and we have to list out the ports or terminals. For example, input S, R. Input is the keyword, and if there are multiple bits, you can include a vector also. We will be studying about vectors in the later modules, but for now understand how we declare an input. We just write the keyword input followed by the list of input variables. Similarly, outputs are declared by writing the keyword output followed by the list of variables. For example, we can declare output y, z or output as a vector combination of y and z. Similarly, inout can also be declared in the similar way, where we write the keyword inout followed by the list of inout terminals. Continuing our example of the full adder, so we had declared module full adder. So in this example, let us identify which are the output and input terminals. So sum and cout are the output terminals. A, B and Cin are the input terminals. So how do we declare them? We have to declare it using the keyword input followed by the names of the variables. But since it is a 4-bit full adder, we notice here we have declared input A, B. A and B are 4-bit wide. We mention 4-bit data by using a square bracket, that is a vector, before the name of the variable. So vector declaration will be understood in the further modules. So we are declaring it as an input. We have seen as a 1-bit input because if we just write input followed by the name of the variable, this will become a 1-bit input. If we want to declare a multiple bit input, then we have to include a vector like this. So 3 down to 0 indicates it's a 4-bit vector. Similarly, sum is a 4-bit output. So we are declaring it using the keyword output followed by a square bracket to indicate it is multiple bit vector, which is a 4-bit vector and its name. And cout is the other output, which is output single bit carry out. So we don't have any vector representation, output cout. And then every module, this will contain the definition of the module. Neglecting the definition of the module, we have to end the module with the keyword end module. So this is the representation, the port declaration for the full adder that we discussed earlier. All the port declarations, it's very important to know all the ports that we have declared, whether it is an input or an output or an inout, by default, implicitly, they are all declared as a wire. That is, their values can constantly change. In case you want an output port who can hold the value or which can store the value, then we should declare that output port as a register data type. Okay, so all the ports by default act as a wire data type. A wire data type is a data type whose value changes constantly. And if you want your output port to hold some value, then we have to declare that as a register. Very importantly, input and inout variables cannot be declared as a register because register variables can store values and input ports must not store values, but they must reflect the changes in the external signals. So if you are connecting a port to an input signal, that input constantly keeps changing. So if you want something to change, you should not declare it as a register. So input and inout must be as wire, whereas output must be as register. These rules are for the design block, not the stimulus block. So let's take an example of a D flip-flop. So we know that the D flip-flop has D as the input, clock and reset as the input, Q as the output. So when we declare output Q, then we declare all the inputs in the port list. So D, clock and reset are the inputs. All are 1 bit. So I have not used any vector declaration for either the input or the output. Now as stated, we end the module. So now in a D flip-flop, we want the flip-flop to store the value of the output, that is Q should hold the data. So if you just declare output Q, then this Q acts like a wire and it cannot hold the value. So what is the rule we just studied? All the output ports must be declared as a register if you want it to store some value. So it is important that we include this line register Q after the output declaration, especially for programs where the output must be constant or it should hold the value. Alternatively, these two lines can be combined and you can write a single line as output reg Q also. Verilog supports this kind of illustration. Continuing the port declarations, all the port declarations can be done in the declaration line itself. So you can declare all the ports in the first line of the module declaration also, something like this. So instead of giving only the port list first, like how we did earlier, we were just listing out the names and later we listed out the input and output, we can declare all the ports in the first line of code. But it is a good practice to list out the variables and then list out the input and output to avoid confusions. Now, let us understand some important rules of connecting port, that is the port connection rules. To understand the port connection rules, we know that every port consists of 2 units. One unit which is internal to the module and another which is external to the module. So if you consider a module, the module has 2 units. One is an internal unit and one is an external unit. The internal and external units are connected and there are some rules that have to be used when you connect ports, especially when modules are instantiated within another modules. That is, when we are calling one module inside another module, it is important to follow some set of rules. If we violate any of these rules, then the Verilog simulator gives us an error. So let us now understand the port connection rules. Let's imagine this is a module. The signals which enter the module represents input ports. They enter through an input port. Signals which go out of the module represents the output port. This is the port through which the signals can leave the module. And we have bidirectional signals which represents the in-out. By default, we just understood now that every port can behave, all the ports that we declare, that is the input port, output port, etc., they behave like a wire. So by default, internally, all the ports behave as a net. But whenever you want the output port to hold some value, we have an option that we can declare the output variable as a register also. So these are the rules of a port connections internal to the module. So internally the input should always be a net because it constantly receives some value from the external world and the value in the external world can keep changing. When the value in the external world can keep changing, obviously this particular net must be declared, that is a wire, net or a wire, because the value keeps changing. So, but output sends the data, the data to be sent can be a constant value or it can keep changing. So output has an option of being declared as register or net. In out, when we are receiving the input value, then it should be definitely a net. So these are the internals of a module. Let us see these rules externally. So if you are applying any input to the module externally, if we are applying something to the module externally, this is receiving, this is applying. Especially in a stimulus block, when we apply the inputs, we want those inputs to be constant. Inputs to be constant means those inputs can be a register or a net. Externally, inputs can be a register or a net, but internally, the input has to be a net. Similarly, externally, when the data goes, when you see the behavior of the module for the applied inputs, the outputs keep changing. Meaning to say, externally the output port can behave as a net or a wire whose value keeps changing constantly. Similarly, externally the in-out terminals also always behave as a net, they keep changing. So these are the port connection rules. To summarize, for the inputs, internally input ports must always be of type net or a wire. Externally, they can be either a register or a net. Similarly, for outputs, internally outputs can be a register or a net, but externally outputs must always be a net. For in-out terminals, internally and externally, they have to always be of type net itself. So these are the port connection rules of. So there is another important concept, width matching. Width matching indicates if we try to connect signals of different sizes, then it is important to match their width. So in case the width do not match, you are trying to send a 5-bit value into a 3-bit register or a 3-bit wire, then Verilog will issue a warning. It will just issue a warning and it will try to truncate. So if your size do not match, if the size is larger, for example, if you are trying to move a large number into a smaller number size, it will truncate the MSB bits, delete the MSB bits. And if you try to put a smaller number into a larger size register, it will add zeros in the MSB bit positions. Next, unconnected ports. So if you use a port, you can leave it unconnected also. That is, you might have some ports which is just needed for debugging and you are not connecting it to the external signals. So you can leave such ports unconnected. For example, just consider in a full adder, if you are not interested to see the Cout output, you can just leave it blank when you are calling that module. During instantiation, you can leave the port unconnected, but you should leave a blank space indicating there was a port. We are not connecting it as we are not interested to see any connections with the external world. So this output port Cout is unconnected in this particular. And one illegal port connection example. So if we look in this particular module top, so this is a stimulus block. We have declared register, variables register, wire, and we are instantiating. What is illegal in this? As we all understood, in a stimulus block, this is a stimulus block. How do we know this is a stimulus block? There is no port list, there is no input-output port list. All the inputs of the design block must be declared as REG and all the outputs according to the port connection rule we saw, all outputs externally, they must be a wire or a net. So the connection mistake here is we have declared this output as REG, it should have been a wire. So in this video lecture, we have understood about what are ports, how to declare ports, and what are the port connection rules with examples. Thank you.